If we could please have Keitha, if you can come up on the update on the activities of the Foundation for the Community Colleges, item 3.5.
Hello, good afternoon, President Baca, Vice President Baum, Chancellor Harris, members of the board. Thank you for having us here this afternoon. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So today we're going to address three topics related to the Foundation for California Community Colleges. I'm going to do a quick financial update. We'll be working from this PowerPoint printout. And I guess I would also just refer you, there are some details in the full packet. On page 39 are the full financial details. I'm not going to walk through them in detail, but they are in your packet, and I wanted you to know that they were there. So I'm going to do a quick update on the financials. I want to talk a little bit about our foundation core messaging and the development of an elevator speech. And then I'd like to turn it over to Joseph Quintana, who's here with me today. He's our Vice President of Program Development, to talk about what's going on with College Buys. So the first topic is the topic of our financials. And again, I've provided the detail on page 39, but what I wanted to do was just kind of give a broad overview. As we've been talking a lot about the significant financial impact that we had this year from the cut of our Career Pathways student intern program. And so we've been doing a lot of reforecasting and rejuggling and trying to kind of, fill that hole over the last 6 months. And I'm happy to report that our latest reforecast shows that despite a 30% cut to our revenue stream, primarily due to the Career Pathway intern program, we're projected to end the year to bring in over $30 million of support to the system and generate about $500,000 of net reserves for the organization, which from a net reserve perspective ends up being within 17% of what we originally projected. So we're very proud of how we were able to nimbly adjust to such a significant hit to our operations. And we were able to do that. When we look at our infrastructure, we operate so very lean. And so when you have a cut like that, the first thing you want to do is look at your expenses and say, where can I cut, where can I cut? And we are just so lean that there was just really nowhere to cut. And so what we focused on is, how do we fill the hole? How do we fill the hole? And so we were able to fill this hole without doing really any cuts to our already lean infrastructure, and really going after new grants and contracts that brought in maybe less revenue from a gross perspective, but brought in better net results for the organization. And a great example of that are the Student Success Grant Awards that we received this year that we've been talking to you guys about. So we feel really good about where we are financially. We, of course, always hope to get back to that $40 to $45 million of support that we've historically provided to the system, but really proud to maintain the level that we are. Our admin percentage is 12% of our total expenses go to admin, which means that 88 cents of every dollar that comes into the foundation goes back out in the form of direct support to the colleges and or the system. So those were kind of the broad updates I wanted to give on financials. I'll maybe just take a moment. Does anybody have any questions about the financials for this foundation?
No. Again, so where does that put you in the, I'm sorry, I should have going forward, you were able to cobble a couple of extra grants together. Is there now a new pipeline of proposals that are out there, and how is it looking for the next year?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. It's a constant challenge for us. We're constantly having to fill the pipeline with new grants and contracts that are coming up. So we have kind of a steady state of business that are long-term contracts that we expect to continue on, and then we have kind of a smaller piece that we're constantly kind of filling the hole. At the last board meeting, we reported, I think there are over $30 million in grants and contracts in the pipeline that have either been submitted for funding and being considered and or are being developed to be submitted in the coming months. So we do have, a fairly large pipeline, but it's always something that it's always something that we have to keep our eye on, because you can't count it until it's awarded. So a constant struggle for us.
Yes, sir.
Ethan, can you just mention to the board your thinking about the transitioning the internships into the corporate sector away from the not-for-profit?
That. So as we've been kind of grappling with the cuts that occurred to our student intern program, we've really been looking at kind of the parameters around how that program has historically operated, and really kind of taking this as an opportunity to perhaps restructure that program and refocus the program. And one of the things that we're doing is coming up with a business plan that focuses on targeting the private sector. Our historical business plan has really been targeted toward the public sector, which we've seen has been quite dangerous to rely on. And so we are looking for corporate partners that either may have existing intern programs that we could take over their back office support for, and or maybe kind of middle sector corporations that may not yet have an intern program, but that could benefit from us helping to start one. We're also looking at our public sector program. We do expect the public sector program to come back on board on July 1 when the side letter agreement between the labor union and the governor expires. However, we expect the program to look very, very different on July 1. So we're looking at kind of tightening up the parameters around that intern program to focus on specific majors that can bring students to these organizations that can do more sort of technical kind of apprenticeship work for these private agencies. So those are kind of the two kind of parallel paths that we are going down looking forward for our student intern program. So moving on from financials, I wanted to talk a little bit about activities or efforts that we've been undergoing to refine our core messaging, and specifically around developing an elevator speech. And I want to share this next slide, which is a quote that I really love. And I'm not going to read it to you because it's really long. You can read it up there on the screen. But the gist of the quote is that, when you look at your organization, are you confident that everybody within your organization can really articulate what you do? And the example I gave to the staff over the holidays was that, when you go home for the holidays and you see Uncle Bill, and Uncle Bill says, "So what do you do?" Are you able to answer the question, what does the foundation do? And I think, our organization especially is so diverse. When you looked at the revenue charts and you see all the different pieces of the pie and all the different things that the foundation does, it's a really difficult question to answer. What does the foundation do? So we embarked on an activity to try to answer that question. What does the foundation do, and the amount of time that it would take you to ride up the elevator? And in our case, we only go a maximum of 6 floors, so it's got to be a pretty short statement. So we put together kind of this cross-functional group, and we included all of our sort of managers and above at the organization. And we started with a really fun exercise to kind of develop a personal ad for the foundation. Foundation seeking funding. If we were going to write a personal ad to put in the newspaper, what would we say? So we moved on from that exercise then to kind of come up with some keywords and common themes that kind of came out of those personal ads. And you can see in the background, it's kind of hard to see with the lighting here, but that's an actual photo of the group taking Post-it notes of all of our keywords and phrases and organizing them on the back wall. And so what we did is we took kind of the key phrases both from our personal ads that we had written, but also kind of in answer to some of these questions around, well, what is it that we do best? What are the positive outcomes of the work that we do? Why is it important what we do? What's inspiring about what we do? What's the common thread? And then most important, for our bottom line is, what do we do that our funders ultimately value? So through that exercise, we came up with kind of our top 5 core elements. And we ranked these. We identified what we thought the top 5 were, and then we ranked them in what we thought the priority is for communication with our key stakeholders. So when we look at the foundation, we believe that the work that we do is positively changing lives. We are facilitating student success. We're positively impacting California as a whole. Because of our unique relationship with the Board of Governors, the Chancellor's Office, and the colleges, we're really a pillar of support and a connector to a very large system. And again, because of that relationship with the Board of Governors and the Chancellor's Office and the colleges, we feel like we're really uniquely poised for opportunity. So we took all of these elements, and it's still a pretty long list there of a number of things that we do, kind of our top 5 in the order of priority. So then we had to distill that down into an elevator speech and try to stay focused on answering the key questions of who are we, who do we serve, what's the social problem that we address, what's distinctive about what we do, and then really answer the so what, why should you care? So at the end of all of that, we developed a very short and succinct elevator speech that's kind of divided up into 3 sections. So the first section answers the question of who we are. We are the official nonprofit supporting the Chancellor's Office and the California Community Colleges. The second section addresses kind of what we do. This uniquely collaborative relationship allows us to support all 112 community colleges throughout the state through innovative, diverse, and far-reaching programs. And then finally, we talk a little bit more about the broader benefits of what we do. So our programs allow us to benefit California's community colleges while simultaneously improving education, environmental, and economic conditions for all California citizens. And so what we tried to do here was try to put kind of who we are, encapsulate who we are into distinct sound bites so that our staff can pick up on key words and phrases and be able to succinctly talk about the foundation as a whole. So why did we do this? Why is this important, and kind of what do we do with it now? So what we're doing now is we're really trying to implement this core message throughout the organization and try to get everybody to kind of use these key phrases and words and sentences as they talk about the foundation, infusing them through our communication materials, and then ultimately using this as our springboard for developing a general case for support. And so I believe on each of your desks, yeah, I see them there, you guys should each have a foundation branded portfolio. And inside of that portfolio, if you'll look at the very top flap, there's a little card. So one of the things that we did is we developed this little wallet card for all of our staff, all of our staff and board, and now Board of Governors, to tuck it away in their wallet. And if you get asked the question and you need a little help answering, you've got it here in your wallet card. So this is another just kind of reminder of who the foundation is. One other thing that I would point out to you guys is that in order to entice our staff to actually use this and pull it out of their wallet and memorize it and be able to say it in their sleep, we negotiated with the coffee house downstairs that for folks who show their elevator pitch card, you'll receive 50 cents off of your beverage downstairs. So as you're leaving today and you want to grab a cup of coffee, you could pull out your Foundation for California Community College elevator speech and get a price break on your coffee. And what we told staff is by the 3rd time that they use it, they have to recite it out loud from memory to get their 50 cents off. So I hope that this does, this exercise certainly, helped me articulate who the foundation is, and I hope that it helps all of you as well. And we hope that we'll be able to take the work that we've done here developing the elevator speech and really craft kind of this general operating support about why it's important to support the foundation, not only for specific programs and services that we provide, but it's important to support us in general for the great work that we do for the colleges and for California as a whole. So maybe I'll pause there and see if anybody has any questions or comments about the elevator
Rainbow
speech.
Singh?
Yeah, Keith, let me commend you on doing this. I know that in the years that I've been here, every year we ask, what does the foundation do? And it's taken me these 4 or 5 years to now, almost understand what it is that the foundation does. Having said that, why I think this is so important, and I hope as time goes on, this is really presented to new board members coming on this board. I think it'd be really, really helpful to get to them having a simple, short understanding of what it is the foundation does. So this is something I think that has been long overdue and very, very welcome, and I appreciate your thoughtful work on it.
Thank you. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Joseph Quintana to talk about college buys.
Thank you. I think I'll start by saying, I think last time we presented college buys to the board was in March. We had an overview of the college buys program and received a lot of feedback on some other information the board would like to hear about college buys and some direction that was suggested. And in this presentation, you'll see a couple slides that are similar and just kind of setting a high level of what college buys is, and then we'll dive a little bit deeper into one of the kind of prongs of college buys and explore a little deeper about what we're doing and where we're going with that. But I did want to start by saying the comments weren't lost, and the idea of a college buys advisory board is something we have vetted and talked through and actually worked with members of the Chancellor's office on, trying to make sure that the efforts that go into an activity like that are maximized, and that we're not creating just another body and trying to tie up time that folks locally don't have. So we're coming up with some other strategies about how to get some of the buy-in and support and feedback from the system that we know we need, and possibly in some other ways initially outside of the advisory board model. And then additionally, we've done some work on really a strategic plan that we can present to our board and this board about where college buys is going. And in doing that exercise, we had started that exercise at the time it presented last time. And in going through that exercise, what it kind of reaffirmed to us was there were some areas where there was some foundational work we still need to do within college buys. So when you're trying to put big plans in place and how do we really start to achieve what we really feel we should be achieving, we realized there's some gaps, and we had to start doing some reinforcement work on kind of some of the basics that we need with the program, and making sure that we have proper communication channels out. And I think, again, over the last several months, we've worked very closely with the Chancellor's office, and will continue to work closely with the Chancellor's office and other stakeholders across the system to make sure that when we do have a deal or an offering, that we can get it out there at the institutional level, because if it's sitting in a if it's printed on paper and sitting in a drawer but nobody uses it, it doesn't do anybody any good. So for me, having worked in college buys for over 9 years, it's kind of hard to say, well, we got to step back and do foundational things, but it's really where we're at, where we need to grow. We have to have the solid base, and that's the work we've been doing. So I just wanted to start by addressing that, and then we'll move here into, again, what is college buys and kind of the high-level perspective. We look to leverage the aggregate buying power of the largest system of higher education in the nation. And we currently save millions of dollars a year through our programs, but we know we're just scratching the surface. And we've taken a pretty focused approach on kind of the concept of protecting the taxpayer's investment in our system. So we have a limited set of offerings, but our offerings are really built around a total cost of ownership approach, and there's recent legislation passed that allows for colleges to do competitive bidding using a best value scoring methodology. So in our system, so often everybody just looks at price and am I getting the deepest discount, but not necessarily considering the 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15-year out costs associated with such procurements. And we've taken the approach of total cost of ownership, this new legislation, which we are really happy to see out there, and we're going to spend a lot of time trying to help the colleges understand it, digest it, and hopefully implement it. really gets to, they call it best value, we call it total cost of ownership. It's the same thing. It allows, it's another tool for the colleges to make sure that when they are spending those limited resources, that they're looking at it holistically. And that's what we've done. We didn't have just a ton of contracts for anything and everything based solely on price. We wanted to think through things like warranty and a lot of other factors. So again, offerings, limited as they may be, we do have offerings in technology, office supplies, furniture and fixtures, and flooring for institutions. For students, the primary offerings are Adobe and Microsoft, and we're going to dive deeper into the students, faculty, and staff option during this presentation. And then another thing that over the last 5 years we've built is a really focused professional development opportunity for the purchasing professionals in our system. And we host an annual conference, and we'll be hosting that again in April in San Diego, the 3rd through the 5th. If anybody's in the area and wants to stop by, we tend to have a couple different reception formats that we'd love to have you if you're in the area. So diving a little bit deeper into the student, faculty, staff offerings. For our students, we have a deal to get the latest version of Microsoft Office for $39.99, and last time I believe we were just getting ready to launch that when I presented this in San Diego. That is now an offering. It's something that we are fulfilling just down the hall, both as a digital download for $39.99, and students can also purchase for $49.99. They can purchase a CD that we fulfill here out of our offices and distribute. Additionally,
what's the market cost?
What's that?
What's the regular market cost?
The next available price, or the next available lowest price, is over $100 directly through Microsoft through their Office University program. And retail on this is, MSRP is over $280 on this software. Additionally, for students, there's a Adobe software offering, which is about 85% off of retail. We don't currently fulfill that in-house. We have a third-party partner that does all of the customer service and fulfillment on that deal. But that's a program we've been operating for several years. On the faculty and staff side, similar to the deal for students, there's also a $39.99 deal for Office. Additionally, for faculty and staff, there's a Windows option, and that's an extension of the campus agreement program that most of the campuses participate in through the College Buys program. Faculty and staff also have the option of the same 85% off of retail pricing to own Adobe software, and then participating campuses can buy usage rights to Adobe software. So it's a license that times out every year because it's an extension of a campus license that they can take advantage of, and that starts for as low as $50. And in that software, for the current 38 participating colleges, the faculty and staff can acquire that for $50, or for the equivalent license, they pay somewhere between $380 and $499, depending upon the version that they purchase. So briefly, who is eligible on our student offerings? It's available to all California Community College students. On the faculty and staff offerings, I'll just briefly on this, our Microsoft campus agreement, there's 105 of the 112 colleges that participate in the foundations agreement, and the other remaining colleges participate, but using a different agreement. So we can fulfill to 105. On the Adobe Own program, all 112 community colleges are eligible, faculty and staff from those colleges. And then the usage rights program, as I stated, there's 35 participating colleges plus the Chancellor's Office participates in that licensing agreement. And then additionally, for members of the board, you're eligible to participate in these programs as well. This is a screenshot of our College Buys, Shop College Buys site. So that's when you go to collegebuys.org, and if you're a faculty staff student, you click through, it's going to take you to the home page for the store. This is a store that we stood up pretty quickly to do the fulfillment of this new offering, because if you recall, in March, Microsoft had eliminated the program we were operating, and then by September we were launching a brand new one where we were actually doing all the fulfillment. So we had to quickly get an e-commerce store up and ready. We had done some fulfillment. We felt confident that we could do the process, but we were doing it for faculty, staff, and it wasn't necessarily, the technology wasn't where it needed to be. particularly when we knew we were now going out to a student audience that has much higher expectations for their e-commerce experience. To chat a little bit about the challenges of us being in this space, and as we talk about the foundational work and some of the things we have to do, why can't we have 30 different offerings for our students? Our sales volume historically is 0.5% of our 2.4 million students. Just like I think anything when you're trying to, as Chancellor Harris mentioned earlier, the kind of the curse or the blessing and the challenge of our system, the size. We have to still try to tackle that and find out how to take advantage of the great opportunity that the size of our system provides us. The huge population can help us get great discounts, but again, the statewide reach is hard, and it's hard to get deals when you don't have a committed volume. Oftentimes, for hardware and some other things, these vendors will really slash their price if you're willing to commit volume. And 0.5% margin, or 0.5% penetration of our system makes it next to impossible for us to commit very much volume in these deals. So we're really trying to build the ability to reach the system. And again, I think a theme that I've heard this morning, just like our colleges, like the Chancellor's office, like a lot of people, we're working with limited resources. We launched the student deal with a pretty skinny marketing budget because we just didn't have the funds in the launch point to do a massive marketing campaign. And so we're doing a little bit more of a grassroots approach to trying to build support for the offerings that we have. I think this is just a graphic to demonstrate our challenge there, the little sliver that we've been able to really attain in the programs historically. So what are we doing? We do have the program. We did make some commitments, and we do have to try and tackle this challenge of really getting the word out. So we will be, in the next couple weeks, launching our Champion program, and the Champion program is reaching out to faculty and staff across the state, either folks who have purchased through our faculty staff program or people we've met at conferences, and asking them to help us spread the word locally on their campus. And so they're going to get a kit in the mail similar to something like this, that inside of it's going to have tear sheets, and not quite on the stand that this one is on, but we have some tear sheets that we're going to be distributing out to our champions. We have posters with the old kind of room for rent little tabs at the bottom that hopefully they can tear off to remind them about college buys. There's actually, when I stepped out during the lunch hour, there's a trifold poster that is in it is almost in the final stage and ready to go to press and to be included in this packet. And then we have, I think all the members of the board received kind of one of the other postcards that we've been using that has a coaster on it to kind of as a leave behind on the desk, a constant reminder for faculty and staff about college buys, and to not only look into college buys frequently to see what's out there new and available, but also to remind their students if they're in the classroom or if they're interfacing with students, because that is one of the things that our surveys of past customers have shown, that over 20% of our students who purchase say that they learned about it through their faculty member. So we're continuing to work on how do we get our faculty to champion this program for us. We're working on increased social media. We have a College Buys Facebook page. We want to make sure that our champions and students are associating with that to know what's going on. We're, again, support from the Chancellor's office. When we initially launched this effort, our initial kind of announcement was an email that went out from just about every vice chancellor to their contacts throughout the system, announcing the deal. We've been working with the vice chancellors on other constituent groups that we might be able to get in front of to present. Been working with Vice Chancellor Michalowski a lot on the number of the student service folks that I think can help us to spread the word. Additionally, working with various system partners, we've had conversations with the Academic Senate, attended their last plenary. Additionally, following up with other articles in their rostrum and continuing to brainstorm with the Academic Senate on how we might be able to utilize their membership to get the word out. Somebody from the College Buys team was at the Student Senate meeting on Saturday presenting the deal and asking for support in getting the word out, because again, we can grow if we can show that we can reach these students. And then of course, previous customers, reaching out to folks who have purchased in the past and asking them to make sure they tell their colleagues, or again, if they're a faculty member, tell your students. So the opportunities are endless. We have a goal to really increase the awareness and drive sales of our new Microsoft program, solidify the outreach channels, so if a new deal comes on, we're not recreating the wheel. We know we have a strong group of people that we can communicate with and get the information out. And then add offerings. It's kind of that chicken and egg. Do you add offerings and that's what drives, or is it you've got to build the channels to get the word out, and then that allows us to drive the offerings? And we're really focused on making sure that we can communicate a deal, so we can confidently tell somebody else that if you can really drive the price down for our students or our faculty and staff or our institutions, we can get the word out about the deal. So I think last time I had a how you can help slide that was kind of just how, but let's talk about it. This time we've got a couple ideas. If you're on a campus, become a champion, or connect me with a champion, or somebody on my team with a champion, somebody that can be on campus and help us spread the word. If you're visiting a campus in your role, encourage them to explore the current offerings that are at College Buys, and then talking to local leadership. If you're in a situation where you're talking with the leadership there, again, encourage them to contact College Buys and just understand what's going on, and help us increase both the awareness and ultimately the number of offerings that are available to our system.
Member McDougall?
Yeah, thank you very much for the presentation. I think it was quite helpful. My question is just straightforward. Do you utilize the campus bookstores to sell to students and staff, or is that not an option for you? What is the situation there?
So a number of the bookstores are either a Barnes & Noble or Follett, so they're a private. They've outsourced the bookstore operations.
Oh, I see.
And in those cases, we have our partner, Journey Education, is actually the exclusive online e-tailer for that. So they direct students to that store, and so that's how we would capture them. There are a handful of independent bookstores. We've worked with bookstores in the past. We haven't had a focused, concentrated effort to the bookstores with this campaign, but on our list of options, it's definitely something that we're keeping an eye on, and we want to explore. But we've launched a little bit more with the champion approach and getting some one-to-one connections at a campus first. It's just a prioritization at this point.
Thank you.
Member Hawkins?
Thank you, Manuel. I just wanted to extend my thanks to the foundation and Joseph, your work to get the Microsoft agreement back. When we lost that for the students, that was really a big deal. So thank you for your efforts to restore that.
Member Sumi?
I echo my colleagues here that it's a terrific opportunity for the students, and I just think it's a terrific bargain. I unfortunately had purchased Microsoft Office from Mac a few weeks before I knew Board of Governors members were eligible. So it's like, oh well, timing is everything, right? Anyway, I just want to ask, in terms of outreach to different groups, have you been using some of the student organizations, like the Student Senate and some of the others who would be, would seem to me to be good campus megaphones for this sort of thing?
Yes, so our director that oversees the College Buys program presented at the Student Senate meeting on Saturday, and has reported back that he's very excited about the opportunities there, and had a very enthusiastic group and great dialogue with that organization. And so we're looking at Student Senate, Academic Senate, working with financial aid officers. And I think I didn't point that out, but we have actually worked very closely with the communications department as well, and the I Can Afford College campaign, and we actually have links off to College Buys on the I Can Afford College website. So we are careful in the messaging, but we definitely think that great discounts on educational resources such as Office, if you need it in the classroom, it is sort of a form of financial aid. You can look at it that way. Be careful with the messaging, but that's and it has always been very well received by the financial aid offices.
Thank you.
Member Ramos?
Thank you, and thank you for a great presentation. It's all exciting. I guess I've got two comments/questions. The first goes to Keith's original presentation on this really important effort to clarify from a communication standpoint what the foundation's value and purpose is. And I wonder, am I mistaken, or do we not have something on the website that is like maybe a 2 or 3 minute video that could be a platform for at least partially helping to articulate that? And if we don't, would that be a good, low-cost, easily produced additional vehicle to basically reframe those points?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. We do not currently have, we have a fantastic website.
You do, yeah, it's great.
But I do not believe that we have a video that kind of articulates this overarching message. So I think it's a terrific idea and something that would be, a low-cost option for us to pursue. So
Great.
thank you.
I would encourage that. I know you're really good on camera too, so I'm sure that would be a great opportunity for you. Now, on college buys, which is really, I have to say, and hope it's not controversial, of all the things that the foundation does, this is my favorite thing that the foundation does.
Mine too.
Partly because I think it's so important for obvious reasons to our constituents on the ground, but also because I believe, like I think you do, Joseph, that the growth potential here is robust and potentially endless. And so I wonder, when you think about your strategic plan, which I'm really thrilled to hear you're in development or have developed, what are the criteria that you're thinking through about what is in the box in terms of sort of the next phases of rollout? I mean, you have software. Could hardware be the next complement to kind of help? We talked about the bookstores. Could textbook, bulk purchases of textbooks to lower the costs of those materials for students be something that we would pursue? Could we talk about relating some of the savings to our construction costs and our facilities budget in terms of, purchasing renewable product and materials that can be used system-wide as necessary by campuses that are retrofitting or building or renovating? I mean, those are areas, at least among the others I could think about, that seem ripe potentially for us to move into. Am I right about that, or is there another line of thinking? What's informing your strategy?
So there's kind of the two directions. On the students, faculty, staff side, we're looking at, what we're actually actively looking at right now is a potential opportunity to provide low-cost 4G access. So it's not one of the big common carriers, and it's a kind of nonprofit to nonprofit opportunity. So we're doing some piloting of that opportunity now, but there may be an opportunity to introduce something to our system that provides very low-priced access to mobile broadband. So that's where we've spent some time. And then beyond that, it really, I think the sky is the limit. We're really trying to focus on things that are kind of the educational resource side of things. So textbooks, if we can find something that works, absolutely. We stay kind of informed on what's going on in the textbooks and the digital space, and it's something that hasn't quite come to any sort of mass in our system or commonality enough in our system where we feel like we've been able to add value, but we're definitely keeping an eye on that. On the institutional side, I think there's huge opportunities in the facilities area still. There's a lot of untapped, and there's challenges that come with that. There's challenges in getting some of those decisions kind of, again, made in a total cost of ownership versus kind of we've always done it this way approach. And I think that the system is more ready for some of that. I think the economic conditions and the worst case scenarios of Prop 30 that a lot of the institutions were doing has kind of opened the opportunity for dialogue. So I think it's ripe for us to solidify some of these partnerships and relationships. And we typically we like to have it bubble up to us. So instead of us kind of setting the platform, we like to have the system kind of help us in setting that, because if we really do need to have a critical mass of colleges take part in something, or else, the vendors get tired pretty quick. We ask a lot of them, and if they don't see volume, kind of saying, well, we need to help, get the system comfortable with this, and then we can start seeing some volume. And that 18, 36-month lead-up cycle is hard on the business community. So, again, it takes a little bit longer for us following that approach, but that's the approach that has historically worked.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I just would hope that as you move forward, that we'll have opportunities, as we are having now, to exchange with you on areas of great potential and opportunity that we could all partner around developing on behalf of the foundation and the system. Thanks.
Great, thank you.
Keith and Paul, thank you very much for your overview of your progress so far. Look forward to new exciting things to happen.
Thank you.
So thank you very much.